guys, Jen Greer here from Chat 94.5 FM, and usually you join me in the studio. Today's a little bit different. You're actually going to be joining me in my kitchen, all part of Come to the Table in support of the Medicine Hat and District Food Bank. A big thank you to all of our sponsors, Neubauer Farms, Deerview Meats, and of course you, the people who have purchased a box. And I can tell you right now, lots of delicious, fresh items in there. And as a bonus, if you're like me, if you have cats, they're gonna love the box because it's a very sturdy, hefty box. My cats have played with it nonstop since I got it. But thank you again for supporting the Medicine Hat and District Food Bank. Hopefully you have some fun with these videos, maybe learn a recipe or maybe a couple of, neat tricks in the kitchen. And today I will be making two versions of shepherd's pie, a vegan version and a ground beef version. So enjoy. So if you're doing the vegan version, you're gonna start off with about 1 to 1.5 cups of the lentils, a big saucepan, and you're gonna wanna cover this with about 2 to 3 inches of water. And now you're gonna wanna bring this to a boil and then reduce to medium heat and cook for about 20 minutes. So now's a great time to start chopping your vegetables, whether you're doing the vegetarian or the ground beef version of shepherd's pie. All right, so you can see the lentils are boiling. We're now going to turn them down and simmer them for about 20 minutes until they are tender. This again is for the vegetarian version. If you're doing just the regular protein version with the ground beef from Save On Foods, now is the time to peel your potatoes, cube them up, and start boiling them. That way they are ready to do the topping. And you're gonna do that for both the vegetarian as well as the protein one. You need those potatoes for the end. While I was waiting for this to boil, I have diced up, this one will work better. I've diced up my onions as well as my carrots that will be mixed in after we ground the beef. Well, we fry the ground beef. You know what I'm talking about. Let's do that next. Okay, so I'm just prepping the corn as the lentils go. The potatoes are on boil. So what you're gonna do is take the cob, take a sharp knife, be careful. I'd advise only doing half of the cob at once and then flipping it over. You're just gonna go straight down the kernels. It's gonna make a mess. I already have like corn milk all over. Just down like that. It's gonna be a bit of a bumpy ride. Knife might get stuck if you cut in too far. That's okay. And then just flip it around. And you're gonna do the same to this side. And if you ever make like corn chowder or anything like that, keep the husk or keep the core, and you can boil that in water to add some extra flavor to your stock. So the lentils have been boiling for about 20 minutes. You can see that they've grown in size. They usually about double to triple in size. And the easiest way to see if they're done is just take one, squish it between your fingers. If it's soft and tender like that, I don't know, there, then they're good to go. So we're gonna turn those off and we're gonna drain them. So if you're doing the regular version of shepherd's pie, you're gonna get your ground beef from Save On Foods into the pan. You're gonna break it up and then cook it until there's no pink left. I usually do this at about medium heat. So potatoes still boiling. And yeah, got my corn ready now. Also added some garlic to my carrot and onions that we'll mix in as soon as this is browned. So rather than you sit here watching me stir it and brown it, we'll come back to that like this. Okay, so as you can see, quite a bit of fat in there. I want to drain it off. Unfortunately, for once, I don't have an empty can or an empty jar in my house. So what I've done is I've taken a bowl, just a regular soup bowl, put 2 layers of tin foil in. So now I can actually just drain it into here. Never drain fat down your sink unless you want to visit from your plumber. So I'm just going to drain off the fat here. Might have to do it one more time, but either way. And then you can just set this somewhere for it to cool. When it's done, you just fold over the tin foil and it's ready to go in the garbage. So the ground beef is nearly all the way cooked through now, so I'm actually going to add my carrots and onions, as well as the garlic in there, finish cooking off the meat, and then we can get ready to put it all together. I have my potatoes, they're out of the pot, they're fork tender now, so while this cooks, I'm gonna go add some butter to it, add a little bit of milk, get them all nice and fluffy, and then we can put it all together soon. So the carrot, onions, and garlic have been cooking with the ground beef for about 5 minutes now. The onion's starting to become see-through, so I'm actually gonna add about a half cup of beef broth into here and just let it simmer for a little bit to help cook the carrots all the way through. Some salt and pepper. Beef broth is going to keep the ground beef moist and also help tenderize the vegetables. If you're adding like corn or peas, anything like that, anything that's a quicker cook, you're going to put that in towards the end. So the carrots are about half cooked now, so I've added in the corn and a little bit more of the beef broth. I'm also going to throw in a little bit of flour to help thicken up the sauce, cook that off, and then right before we put it in the pan, we're going to add the peas to it. Potatoes are all mashed here. Forgot to mention earlier, set your oven to 350. So the sauce is starting to thicken up here thanks to the little bit of flour we threw in there. Everything's pretty much cooked, so we're just gonna add the peas. I'm using canned peas, so they go in at the last minute. If you're using frozen, a couple minutes before this point. We're getting ready to put it all together. So because you cook the lentils separately, for the vegetarian option, you're gonna take some olive oil or canola oil, hot pan, cold oil, always, and you're gonna wanna saute your carrots, your onions, your garlic, and get those ready to mix in with the lentils for the filling. So as your veg is frying, you're gonna salt and pepper them. And then I'm also going to use a little bit of cayenne pepper just to spice things up a little bit. And when the carrots and onions are nearly done, that's when you're going to dump the corn in if you're using it. So I've added the corn in, and I'm just adding some vegetable stock, so about a half a cup or so. And we'll get ready to put everything together. So the flour is thickened up the vegetable broth quite nicely. I'm gonna throw some peas in now. That's pretty much your last step before we put it all together and fire it in the oven. Again, your oven should be at 350. All right, so for the vegetarian option, now you are going to take the mix you made and put it in a bowl. Grab the lentils and add them in as well. And just mix that all around. Like that. Nice and saucy. And then whether you're doing the vegetarian or if you're doing the beef, you're going to take the pans that you're putting them in and spray them with Pam or cooking spray, and then you're going to put these down first and then layer on top with mashed potatoes. So I got my vegetarian one here, I've got my 2 beef here. I'm splitting mine up just because I live alone, so doing a full-size family one, as much as I love shepherd's pie, I don't always want to eat the same thing for lunch and dinner for a week straight. So I'm actually kind of cutting it in half, and then I'm going to freeze one. Actually, I'll probably freeze 2 of them and eat the third. So after everything's spread out, you're gonna grab your mashed potatoes. I apologize for no video on me mashing them, but yeah, unfortunately, I should fire my camera crew for that, but if I was to do that, you wouldn't get to see the end of the recipe here, so yeah, we're just gonna spread the mashed potatoes out over all of the dishes. All right, the mashed potatoes are all spread out. I kind of ran out on mashed potatoes for this one. I'll probably just add some more. That'll be the one that definitely goes in the freezer. So now it's time to put your shepherd's pie into the oven, 350 for about 30 minutes. However, if you're going to freeze one, like I do, I'm actually gonna wait till it cools, and then I'm gonna wrap it in cellophane, and then wrap it in aluminum foil and put it into my freezer. And then when you're ready to take it out of the freezer, just pop it in the fridge till it defrosts, come home from work, and pop it in the oven for 30 minutes at 350. So the shepherd's pies have been in for about a half an hour now. You can see, lovely goodness. Now at this point, the potatoes are starting to brown on top. I know, oven lighting sucks, but if you want it to be a little bit more crispy, you can hit your broiler on right now, but do make sure that you keep a watchful eye on it so it doesn't burn. Also, normally I have shredded cheese in my fridge. I don't have any tonight. Usually at this point, I would sprinkle just a little bit of the shredded cheese on top, hit it on the broiler for a couple of minutes, let that cheese bubble and crisp up, and then you're good to go. All right, guys, so they are out of the oven, this being our regular beef shepherd's pie, and then of course the vegetarian lentil shepherd's pie. Both look amazing. I can't wait to tuck into them.